And now we interrupt your regular viewing program to bring you these news items.
Hello and welcome to Shifty Crab News Break, the show where we deliver you just a pinch of the week's gaming news and discuss all the games we cannot wait to get our claws on. That's right, we're back again with another news break. We're bringing you news faster than a Microsoft price reversal. Still in despair from his favorite skate spot, that his favorite skate spot has been swallowed up by a blizzard, is Adam Vary.
It's still sore.
How are you, Adam?
Yeah, I'm all right. Move on.
It's all right. And he's come all the way from Yarnum to be with us today. Is Vince Haley.
What's going on, Terry? loving the intro today. You're on fire.
Thank you. I know you're probably paused in the middle of a boss fight right now on Bloodborne. Are you okay to be with us right now? Or
I'm good.
okay,
We're
good.
fine.
That's good.
Sitting at a lantern. It's okay.
I will be your host today. I am Terry Jeffs, and in today's show, we are going to discuss the future of Konami's gaming division, Halo Infinite's details that are incoming, and details on IO Interactive's 007 game that has left me shaken, not stirred.
I knew it was coming.
Oh,
coming.
yes.
But
good.
first, before we get to that, guys, PlayStation 5 Scalpers scoop up Argos stock before it's put on sale. This article is by Tom Phillips at Eurogamer.net. Another day of PlayStation 5 stock, another day of scalpers. This time, UK retailer Argos is in the spotlight for having stock scooped up before it was officially placed on sale. IGN reports that today's planned stock refresh was impacted by the fact many consoles were pounced on yesterday by an organized scalping group. This group, which we won't name here, claims to have been able to find and access checkout URLs on Argos website before they were publicly available. Unconfirmed reports from anonymous Argos staff members posted on social media last night suggested managers at the chain were made aware of the early sales and that those orders were being cancelled. But this morning, members of the paid for scalping ring posted photos of themselves walking down to Argos, picking up their click and collect orders. We've contacted Argos for comment. Other chains have also been hit by scalpers once again too. And another subscriber to the same scalping ring boasted on social media he had used the service last night to pick up 7 consoles from 4 different outlets. Quote, a PS5 for every room in the house, even the bog, he wrote. Adam, I know you could give us a much more detailed kind of first person view and standpoint from this, because you tried to grab one of these last night, I believe.
Yeah, this is yet another attempt to try and get a PlayStation 5. I've been staying awake most nights really because a lot of the providers around here, like Argos and some of the other sites, they like to do their releases in the middle of the night to not impact traffic on the website. So usually it's like 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. Argos, we had a rough idea that it was going to be between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. Now, what they did, Argos, before we talk about the scalpers, is they seem to release their stock in different areas of the country throughout that time. So in a sporadic fashion. So they started to go live, and I don't know where the first area was, but I know Scotland was quite early on, parts of Scotland. And then it was trickling down to different areas. So every 15 to 20 minutes, a new area would get stock. So basically all night, people were just refreshing to try and get it. Now, the news had come out during the day about these scalpers being able to get in, and some of the big scalping rings had been boasting that they'd found this way in. The same way, actually, that a lot of paying customers had found a way in, which was that you could add it to your wish list on Argos. And then if you went down and you tried to add the insurance to it, you clicked on the insurance and it would automatically move it to your trolley. And then you could just delete the insurance. Now, you weren't able to add it to your trolley when it wasn't in stock, but this gave people a way of having it in their trolley for when the stock went live, which was supposed to speed up the process. And it worked for a lot of people. A lot of people did get stock yesterday, but it was a mess because people were paying for it and then they were getting kicked out at the confirmation page and had no confirmation. Some people didn't get confirmation for 12 hours. And then they would get an email maybe saying that their order had been cancelled. I think 25% is the number that I've seen so far of orders that were placed like last night, early this morning, were cancelled. In the area I didn't get any stock at all. It never changed to being in stock for me. I rang and spoke to Argos today directly to one of the local stores that were doing click and collect, and they said that they hadn't received any stock. But regarding the scalpers, it's impossible to beat them at the moment. They are so quick at getting in and getting the stock, and there's not much you can do about it. They fought with where you click on the images to get yourself logged in. They thought that would slow them down, and Argos does have that when you sign in, but they were bypassing that. They did it with Game, the outlet over here, during the week. The one scalper claimed that he got 2,000 in that 2,000 units just in that one day.
Yeah.
And they cancelled. I know Game started to cancel orders that they could find, but they still came away with a lot. And it's just disheartening because there's a lot of people that just want the console, like myself, for me to not only play, but to use for work, to use on this channel. And I can't get a look in, and I'm staying up. And I know a lot of people can't stay up in the middle of the night. And there's just no hope at the moment. And you can understand why some of these people are turning to eBay and paying extortionate amounts. It's just the companies aren't doing enough. For example, today went on sale about 1:00, and by 10 seconds later, it was out of stock. And it was mainly bought up by bots.
They just can't seem to get around this bot situation.
And the last thing I'll say, just before obviously I pass it over to Vince, is there's companies over here, especially in the UK, like CEX, which is a retail company. It's a high street chain. It's a secondhand shop you can trade in and sell. They are currently buying the PlayStation for 600 and something pounds, which is obviously £200 above retail, and they're selling it for 800 and something pounds. And see, this isn't a scalper online at their home. This is a retail shop. They should not be able to do this. And eBay should be clamping down on people, because there's people on eBay selling them, even though they haven't got them. They said, I've got a confirmed delivery. But they're selling stock that they don't have, which legally they're not really allowed to do. So I think this whole thing has been a mess. And it doesn't seem to be getting, the only way it's going to get easier is when there's enough PlayStations out there that the scalpers aren't making any profit. But I don't see an end in sight anytime soon.
Vince, is it the same situation in America at the moment, or?
It's pretty much the exact same situation. I mean, getting your hands on the PS5 right now is nigh impossible with scalpers out there. I know I've tried a couple times, a couple different places, and I've pretty much given up, because as soon as it goes live, it's gone within seconds. I've tried at Walmart here in America. It's pretty much the same thing. They had a rollout every 10 minutes. So if you were on there, say at 3, they go live at 3:00. I got on like 2:50, ready to refresh the page over and over. And by the time 3:00 hit, as soon as I refreshed the page, it was out of stock. It was gone. And I tried again multiple times, trying to every 10 minutes, and they were just gone. And by the time, I would say maybe 20 minutes had passed, they were just completely out of stock. it's rough to say the least. I mean, even GameStop here, which is Game in the UK, they'll put up stock and it's just gone. I'll see it moments later. They've tweeted it out or posted on Facebook, but it's almost impossible unless you have notifications on and you're ready to go when you see retailers put stock up. And even then, scalpers are always going to get it first. They got the bot set up. You can't beat them. Like Adam said, you just can't.
Yeah, and
Well,
just to jump in on what you said there, sorry, about the notifications, they don't even work. I'm assigned into all of the accounts, and I have notify me when available, and they can't do it quick enough. So it went live on Amazon yesterday. Amazon had a drop. I believe it was yesterday. All the days blur into one when you've not been asleep. But yesterday, Amazon had a drop, and they didn't notify anybody. They went on sale, people bought them, and then when people complained to Amazon saying, why didn't you notify me? They just said, we didn't sell any stock. We haven't sold any. But there's thousands of people showing that they've bought them. So there's no line of communication between Sony to the retail outlets, to the consumer and to the customer. They don't tell us when things are going on sale. The bots don't need to know when things are going on sale. They're refreshing the website every 2 seconds. So they're going to get a hit. Just tell us when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just tell us, because we're not competing at this point. We're not even competing against each other. We're just competing against the bots, and you're giving them an unfair advantage by not telling us. And then you speak to them, you speak to Argos, and they have their copy. Sorry, my camera has decided that it doesn't want to work now either. Copy him.
He's gone. He's left.
I've just left. I've had enough. I'm out of here. No, they just give you a copy and paste message saying, "Oh, we don't know when things are going to be in stock." But then there was people who were working at Argos on Twitter filming that they had the stock. They're the people that told us between 1 and 5, and it was accurate. But it's just impossible, like absolutely impossible to get one. And I've never experienced this. Like PlayStation 4, I got at launch, not a problem.
I guess because we've never
as well.
experienced this kind of supply issue.
Especially
and I
with
guess
the current situation.
That's the problem. It's creating this never-ending cycle where they can't supply enough, and then they sell out, and then it just keeps happening again. But Argos did actually respond to the reports today. So speaking to Eurogamer this afternoon, a spokesperson confirmed the chain was aware of today's issues, but had currently sold out. Eurogamer understands the exploit used by the scalping group to buy stock before it was placed on sale has now been addressed, and future attempts to use this method will not be successful. Quote, it's clear our customers are excited for the new PlayStation, an Argos spokesperson said. We released a small amount of additional stock and have seen huge numbers of customers trying to place their orders with us, and we have now sold out. So they did mention somewhere else that the loophole that the bots managed to exploit this time round will not happen again, but it just seems it doesn't really make a difference, really.
They'll find another one.
Yeah.
That's just the one to stop them getting it early. Like, doesn't mean it'll stop them getting it on the day quicker than anybody else.
So just got to try another day, Adam.
I haven't given up. I think I'm just going to wait and see if one just appears like down the line when I'm scrolling and it's in stock. Like,
a wild PlayStation 5 appears.
Yeah, just a wild PlayStation 5. Like, it's just, I can't keep staying up every night. And that's when most of them are launching. Because the thing today was, even though the one for very.co.uk sold out instantly, I'd stayed up all night. Then I'd got up in the morning and done what I needed to do. So then I went to have some sleep in the afternoon, because obviously we record at night. And while I was asleep is when the drop was. I just can't win. I stay up and nothing happens. I fall asleep, everything happens. And then I wake up and it's just like, well, okay. What do I do here? So, I'm just going to keep looking loosely, but it's too demoralizing at the moment to keep staying up until 5 a.m. and nothing happening. So I quit. I'm just going to play the Vita and sit in a corner and cry.
I was going to say, would it not help? And it probably wouldn't, but would it not help for PlayStation to hold their stock back before they start giving out to suppliers till they have a larger number of units to put on sale at one go and then go, rather than drip feeding these ones that can just be kind of bought up? Or would that not make a difference, do you think?
It probably would. It probably would help. I think one of the issues, and obviously I can only speak from the UK, that I know that multiple freighters with stock for the PlayStation got turned around because it didn't have the right legislation and documentation due to Brexit. They hadn't updated. Obviously, our whole borders have changed, and I'm guessing it's the product they were bringing must have been coming through Europe, and it's different legislation. And I know a big order got turned back around and sent right back to where it had come from. So I know that damaged how many were going to be in the UK. And I know that a lot of the stock that was available was for pre-orders that still hadn't been honored since before Christmas. So a lot of places like Amazon, I think it was 90% of their stock that they did have was for pre-orders. Like that people had pre-ordered it before Christmas and hadn't received it yet. So I do think that every new series of launches, when we have the big launches and the big drops, even though I hate that word, of them, it will get easier and easier because obviously there is less need for them because people are buying them each time. And I'm hoping that companies now are going to start to see these problems. And now that it's getting some mainstream attention, it was on the BBC and Sky News covered it today, that maybe it's going to put pressure on them to do it right. But I don't know if that's more of a hope than a thought. Maybe we'll see.
We shall see, indeed. In our next story, no, Konami hasn't shut down its gaming division. Have no fear, or I guess be worried. Depends on whatever your viewpoint is on this. So Konami announced, this is on IGN, IGN from Joe Scrabbles. Konami has announced an internal restructure in which 3 production divisions will be dissolved, but has denied that it is shutting down its gaming production after fans and media began speculating about the move. A story began in an announcement to investors of, among other things, organizational restructuring. A post on the Konami Digital Entertainment website explained that it will dissolve production divisions 1, 2, and 3 to respond to the rapid market that surrounds us, with production divisions previously representing the company's home of game development. Some took this to mean that gaming production at the company was being shuttered as a whole. However, in a statement to IGN, a Konami representative wrote, "The announcement made refers to an internal restructure, with production divisions being consolidated. We have not shut down our video gaming division." So I guess this came as a bit of a, I guess if I had heard today that they had shut down their gaming division, I honestly wouldn't have been that surprised, because other than PES, like what licenses are they actually using at the moment?
I mean, besides like the pachinko machines and the slot machines, nothing really, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what most of their model, I think, is based on now at the moment, pachinko machines, which are they're just absolutely, I watched the documentary on them the other day. They're just absolutely huge in Japan.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you guys, in terms of IP that Konami's kind of sitting on right now, now we know that they're not closing down the games development. Do you see them returning to any of the, like, do we see them returning to Metal Gear Solid without Hideo Kojima? Do we see them going back to a new Silent Hill game, maybe even Castlevania? Or do you think they're just kind of done with that kind of stuff now?
I mean, they tried with Metal Gear, right?
Yeah, they
And
did.
that kind of didn't super work out. But I mean, it's been speculated for a while that Blue Point might be working on a Metal Gear Solid remake.
Oh.
Would they do that without Konami's blessing, honestly?
Yeah, then Konami wouldn't really be involved in it, though, would they?
That's true. I guess FromSoft wasn't involved with the Demon Souls remake. They did.
No,
for PS5.
it was mainly they just gave the blessing and kind of was there if they needed anything.
The Metal Gear Solid remake is what I would want to see from Blue Point. If
Yeah, they'd
Konami
be incredible at that.
let them do that, that would be. I mean, obviously, it's the only one in the series that really, you could argue, needs it. Although I'd love to play the original PS1 version, but for players to play that in the modern day, I know you got the Twin Snakes version on the GameCube, but they could really bring that to modern day, because that is such a classic game.
Yeah, and it would make sense for Konami because obviously they'd make money from it. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah, absolutely.
wouldn't have to do much. Like, and obviously Blue Point have got a track record of doing really well with those sort of things, so I don't think there'd be much worry there. And they usually keep it really close to the like the how it was.
Mm.
So, yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer for them to do that, and I think that will happen. But then I suppose did they do anything else with Contra? Did they? Yeah,
that'd be cool.
And then Castlevania, they did the anniversary collections, didn't they?
Yeah,
Maybe they'll do more with them. But what else are they going to do? I don't think
a Mega Man or something like that. But
they
did the Mega Man
about
collections, though, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're not. They don't seem to be. They seem to be reluctant to make new variations on them. They don't want to do anything new. It's if you told me, like, when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, that's when I went back and played. Well, I had the demo for the Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation. I remember that was one of the demo discs I had, and I played that level again and again and again, and I loved it. But Metal Gear Solid 2 is really where I jumped on. If you had told me then that Konami would be in the state that it is now, they wouldn't have Kojima with them. Like, they would be mainly focusing on Pro Evolution Soccer, and that's it. I would not believe you. It's just they were at one stage one of the biggest studios in the world, and now they're an afterthought for a lot of people, because it's not that they don't have the IPs there, but they just don't do anything with them. So yeah, I'm not surprised they've shut down. Or sorry, not shut down, but they've restructured their gaming side, which is obviously restructuring means they've probably halved it. Then yeah, it doesn't surprise me, but it doesn't surprise me in as of the Konami of now. But yeah, it's sad to see where they've kind of landed.
Vince, what of their IPs would you like to kind of see come back?
I mean, there's always that hope for Silent Hill, honestly, because just to see what Capcom has done with revitalizing the Resident Evil franchise and how strong the remakes were, I think a Silent Hill remake, or hell, even a new game to give a bit of breath of fresh air in that franchise, would be great. Do I think Konami would do it right now? Probably not.
No, the money's just not there for them for it to be worth them to do it.
I would like to see a PS5 Silent Hill, though.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Imagine using the haptics and everything in that sort of game. It would be like haptic controls, and the feedback would be incredible. The sound, the 3D audio.
It's got to be a tough time to be a Silent Hill fan right now, especially when you're looking over at the fence and seeing what Capcom are doing with Resident Evil. It's just like night and day. It must be pretty sore. I see a lot of Silent Hill fans just personally in my Twitter feed just crying out for a new game, and just in angst that they're just sitting on that IP and just doing nothing with it, because it's got so much potential.
It really does. I mean,
yeah. I'm looking at what else they have, and I can't imagine there's anything else that they're really going to push that we haven't already mentioned. Like, no, unless they do track and field.
Castlevania, they could probably make a decent comeback, but
see, I quite enjoyed the first reboot, the Castlevania. Was it Lord of Shadows?
Yeah, Lord of Shadows.
Yeah, I don't know if it sold like amazingly well, but I really enjoyed it. It had a bit of like a God of War kind of Onimusha type of fighting style to it. I like the exploration. It was very different, and obviously the fans of the original Castlevania games are not all going to vibe with it because it's completely. It's not a Metroidvania game, kind of. But I like that. Although I didn't play the second one, and that got destroyed critically. It was not meant to be good at all. And then that just kind of died after that. But that was, I think it was the Spanish developer. Was it like Tequila Games? I can't remember top of my head. But they do tend to, in the past, kind of let their licenses out to other developers out there to experiment. But they've just kind of stopped with that now. And I wish they just kind of go back to that and just let some other people have a go. You know, I'm sure, as we said, like Blue Point could do some amazing things with the Metal Gear games.
So maybe Zone of Enders. Do you think they'll
Zone of Enders, yeah.
go back into that?
Yeah, we haven't had a ZOE game in a long time.
I totally forgot that Konami developed Frogger as well.
Did they?
The original Frogger is developed by Konami.
Yeah, Konami, like in the 80s,
by Sega.
In the 80s, in the arcades, they were like dominating.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh well.
Wow.
In other news, new Halo Infinite details coming this week as Microsoft promises monthly updates. So this is from Eddie McCutch from GameSpot. Posting on Reddit, community manager Brian Jarrard said fans have no need to worry about Halo Infinite just because 343 hasn't said much about the game recently. Responding to a fan who said they were worried because 343 hadn't shared any new info yet this year, Jarrard pointed out that Microsoft had gone more than a year with radio silence before, and the last update came relatively recently on December 8th, when the company released screenshots and announced a full 2021 release window.
Not happening.
Jarrard, what was that, sorry?
Not happening. Carry on.
Jarrard also mentioned that the beginning of any new year can be slow due to developers taking time off for the holidays. Keep in mind that many of us around the studio were out of the office for 2 or more weeks to the end of the year, and then it takes some time to get back into the swing of things, he said. Looking ahead, Jarrard said 343 will deliver higher level updates or better every week regarding the development of Halo Infinite. And in fact, the next Inside Infinite blog post is coming this week, featuring developers on the Sandbox team talking about their processes and sharing new insight. This won't be too significant of a reveal, Jarrard said, but the wider goal is to be more transparent. What do you guys think of that?
Well, it's good that they're going to be putting information out there. That's always a good thing, I think, for any game. It's always good to have the information there. Do I necessarily think that it's going to be of value? Probably not. It's very hard when the information is coming from in-house. They can paint any picture they really want. So, I'm still a little bit skeptical on the 2021 release date. I think from the state that it was at, and that there hasn't been much of an update, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. But hey, we'll see what happens when they start releasing stuff. If it's looking good and like they said, there's not going to be too much to show in this first one, but these are coming out obviously quite regularly every week. If the information starts to get more and more meaty, then yeah, it could be a really good thing.
Vince?
I mean, as a former massive Halo fan, it's interesting. I mean, blog posts, if I don't know if either of you guys have read previous Halo blog posts, they're usually kind of bare bones, and there's not a whole lot of information to them. So saying it's going to be like the Sandbox team talking about it, it's probably just going to be like, here's kind of what we're doing, here's the ideas we have, a couple quotes from the team, and that's probably going to be it. I don't think we see anything major until probably what's supposed to be, or what becomes of, E3 this year. I don't think these little blog posts or anything is going to reveal anything too drastic with the development of the game.
No, I agree. But I think probably the main reason they're doing this is to give that transparency that they lacked before, obviously, the trailer that everyone was complaining about, just to show what's going on. It would be nice to see a little bit more of like what's happening with the team, with if they show the structure of the team, because I know some of the lead developers left recently, and they brought in one of the, I can't remember the guy's name, but they brought in one of the ex-Bungie
Jason
developers.
Staten.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, brought him in to kind of steer the ship in the right direction again. But I guess any news would be good news at the moment. I do think, Adam, I do think that I just can't see it not hitting the release window for the end of this year, because if it doesn't, it's just got to be a complete disaster for Xbox. I just don't understand how that can happen to go over a year
it would
of
be a
launching this
disaster.
console.
It would definitely be a disaster. I'm not a massive Halo fan, never really have been, but I really want it to release and I want it to do really well, because I think Halo is one of those franchises that has so steeped in history, especially more modern gaming history, that it'd be really, and it's been on a slippery slope a little bit obviously the last game didn't hit well. So you do want it to kind of rise from the ashes and become this, especially because it had the bad obviously reception when they showed the in-game demo last time. I think it would you really want it to rise from the ashes and be this big, amazing game and really cement Xbox's year. If it does hit, my gut would tell me that it's not good. And it's going to release very buggy and maybe a little bit underwhelming. I would rather they delayed it in the sense that it brought out a really good game. But you're right, Microsoft need it to come out. They need a Halo in their first year, really. Like, they need it. It's the Xbox game. So I think it's one of them. They either pressure it to come out and it might not be ready, or they take the hit and it comes out early next year and it is ready. But maybe I'm wrong. It could come out in, let's say, November is probably the most likely time it's going to come out, October, November. And it's amazing. And I'm wrong and the game's great. But I think there's been, with the change, obviously people coming in, people leaving, the state that it was in the last time we saw it, and not to hear much for a while. And now they're starting to show stuff again. So that is promising, but
Vince,
maybe I'm wrong.
You said you were a former Halo fan. When did you feel you dropped off?
I think along with everybody, when Halo 5 was just such a massive disappointment. I mean, it's a game I bought the collector's edition for. I have the Master Chief and Spartan Locke statues for that game. And playing it was such a mess. I mean, it's not the story Halo fans wanted. It was just bad. I mean, it's not what Halo was. And honestly, that E3 trailer they did, not even last year. No, not E3. It was the Xbox reveal trailer, right?
Yeah, for Infinite.
That they showed off, for Infinite. It in action, it didn't look too bad.
I actually thought it looked. Yeah, I thought of the technical issues aside that were brought up, I actually thought it looked great. Like, it looked like I mean, I haven't played Halo since 4, and I found 4 a little bit like underwhelming compared to the first 3 games. Like Halo 3 was just like such a huge moment for me. Like, same thing. I remember queuing up midnight release, getting the Steelbook edition, special edition, and stuff like that. And but yeah, with 4, I was like, okay, that was fun. I enjoyed it. I played online co-op and stuff, but I didn't pick up 5, and then kind of glad that I didn't, because of how it was received. But yeah, I just feel like this one needs to hit. And what I saw from that trailer, I thought, okay, this looks like I'm getting the original vibes from the original Halo watching this, and I like the look of the gunplay. But yeah, obviously there were flaws, more down to the technical level of things and stuff like that. But I hope they stick to that vision of what they were going for, at least.
I hope so too, because it looked like a really decent return to form for Halo. I mean, you mentioned, speaking of release dates, that it looked like the original Halo. The original Halo was released on November 15th, 2001. So this would be 20 years after the initial release. If they go for that date of November 15th, 2021, that would be amazing. But again, we'll see how much longer it takes for them to get this right. And they need to get this right.
Do you think it will release this year, Vince?
I've got a strong feeling it's going to release this year. Whether it's good or bad is kind of up in the air. I guess we'll have to see more from it, which I definitely don't think this blog post coming up is about to do.
Well, they say that, don't they? They say it's not going to show much, this first one anyway.
I think at the very least it has to release in some form, and whether that will be
maybe just the multiplayer. I don't
yeah,
know.
maybe just the multiplayer or just the campaign. So if they are really working away at something, they can just kind of get that done and then focus on the other thing. But they need to get some form of it out. I'd imagine you try to get the campaign out. I don't know what's going to be the quickest thing to kind of get done, but
yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
you've got to have something. But at the same time, you can't have a messy launch like the Master Chief Collection had.
Yeah.
No.
Because although that's supposedly great now, that was very bad to begin with. Yeah, and they had to work on that a lot. So I don't know. They're in a catch-22 situation here, I think.
I think the thing that just worried me with it is I think with Halo and what I have played of Halo, and I have a lot of people who obviously there's people who will die for Halo. Though that's the hill that they will die on, that Halo, and it's got such a big base behind it. Is the gunplay has always been good. People like shooting in Halo.
Fantastic.
It's the original basic console shooter online multiplayer, deathmatch, etc. It's what made it really famous, really. And obviously that's hard to tell from a demo, from a demo trailer. But that seemed all fine. The thing that disappointed me was that you couldn't tell that this was next gen.
Right.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell. I would not be able to put that. I would be able to tell you that it was on the last gen, probably. Like, I don't think it goes as far back as being on the Xbox 360, but it's not much better. Like, and that was the worry. That was like, this is what you're showing people.
And not just that. This is the excuse you're trying to say to buy this console, which you've been shouting about is way more powerful than anything else. Like you're kind of trying to sell this on the fact that this is the most powerful gaming console. So show us the game. And obviously Halo is their AAA tentpole game. That should be the thing pushing that console to the limits. That should be like the equivalent of what, I don't know, like Naughty Dog are doing with The Last of Us, or Sony Santa Monica. Like this should be a thing, like showing what this can do. And it looked like something that could easily be released on an Xbox One or on a PlayStation 4, obviously. If it was on PlayStation
Halo
4.
is the flagship of Microsoft, really, when it comes to games. And that should be leading the charge going, this is what the Xbox can do.
Yeah.
This is what is next for you for the next 7 years, 10 years, however long that this console cycle lasts. This is what you're going to have. And it was just plodded along, looked exactly the same, and just looked underwhelming. And this is a launch. This is the launch show for Xbox. Like, they dropped the ball, but hey, it's up to them to pick it up, and they could release in November, hit the 20-year mark, and absolutely knock it out of the park. They have the capability, but maybe I think with the previous year of games and the delays that pretty much all games have had, I'm just maybe that's just made me a bit cynical when it comes to the release date. But we'll see.
Well, speaking of releases, we've got a few details, guys, on IO Interactive's 007 game, which is I'm telling you, man, I'm psyched for this. I am psyched for this. So this is over at VGC. Andy Robinson. Hitman Dev's James Bond game won't feature a movie actor, and it could be a trilogy. More here. So Hitman developer IO Interactive has revealed more details on its plans for a James Bond video game project, revealing that it won't lean on any of the existing 007 actors. IO project James Bond was announced via a short CGI trailer in November. The game was described as a wholly original Bond story that will be powered by IO's Glacier technology and released for consoles and PC. Speaking in a new interview with Danish publication DR, Studio head Hakan Abrak revealed new details on the Bond project, including further confirmation that it will not be based on any of the 24 films that have been released over the last 60 years. According to Abrak, IO intends to build a James Bond universe from scratch. We have been allowed to make our own digital Bond, which will not lean on any Bond actor, he said. We also came up with a completely original story, and you could easily imagine that a trilogy could come out of it. The studio head also revealed details on how the deal came about. Abrak said IO had been working on a Bond pitch for almost 2 years and eventually presented it to 007 producer Barbara Broccoli in London last year. Broccoli is the owner of Eon Productions, the British production company that makes the James Bond films. As such, she has final say on any deal involving the fictional super spy. According to Abrak, Broccoli had sworn that 007 would not appear in any video game because she did not feel that previous games were worthy enough and that it was violence for the sake of violence. At the beginning of the meeting, she had a very expressionless face, but further into the meeting we came, she bled up and started smiling, he said. One could see the younger members of the family lit up when they saw that she was reacting. So this is something that's got Barbara Broccoli excited, which is she's been kind of infamously like known to be very protective over the franchise and obviously anything related to it. So, man, guys, I'm excited for this game. I'm so excited for this game. And also, it wasn't reported in the article there, but I read somewhere that they've brought on like 200 more members of staff to work on this and other projects at IO.
Yeah,
so
no,
it
says there, yeah.
Oh, it did,
they want
yeah,
to bring the employees to 400 for the Bond project, yeah.
Yeah, obviously head over to VGC to read the whole article. But yeah, they're going all out on this, and the fact that they've got them excited at Aeon, oh man, I can't wait to see what becomes of this game. I'm a huge Bond fan. Like, I love all the films, and more particularly I love the old school ones, like the Sean Connery ones and stuff like that, and I also love the Daniel Craig ones. But my mind starts wandering, thinking what they could do with this. What's your thoughts?
This is a match made in heaven. And I thought this when it was first announced, but since playing Hitman 3, it's like they've been practicing. Like, it's now, I know it's not going to be Hitman. I know it's not going to feel the same as Hitman, but Hitman does so many things right that a James Bond film needs. The score is incredible. Like, there's music beat as well when you do something and you just hear the dun, the music swells up. You need that for James Bond. He's got style. It's got those one-liners. It's got atmosphere. The scenery, the world that they create is incredible. The creativity is incredible. If there's a company that's perfect for James Bond, it's IO Interactive. Like, James Bond needs to be classy. He needs to be cool. A James Bond film needs to make you feel powerful yet sexy. All of these things all at once, and at different times through Hitman 3. And they changed the way Hitman 3 is. There's a lot of new things that they add to it's not a case of here's your targets, go and kill them. Like, it's not like that in Hitman 3. There's a lot of new things that they brought in, and it's incredible. I think that I can not wait to see what they could do, because I just don't think they can do wrong with it. Even if they just put Agent 47 in a wig and a tuxedo, like, you could call it a James Bond film. Like
they're halfway there.
They're halfway there. Like, they can't go wrong with this. So just listen. Yeah, there's been some bad 007 games over the years. Like,
oh god, yeah.
What was the one with Pierce Brosnan? Which one did they do of his? Was it Tomorrow Never Dies they made into a game?
Yeah, that wasn't great. That was on the PlayStation 1, I believe. I remember playing that, and especially following up to, obviously, GoldenEye, which we all know and love. But that's a very there was it Agent Under Fire? There's one that people there's one on the PlayStation 2 that everyone seems to love. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, there was a 007. There was Agent Under Fire.
Yeah.
Which still wasn't great. It was just basically run to cover, shoot everyone.
Yeah,
it was just a
generic
shoot.
Third-person kind of shooter with all the driving parts and stuff like that. Vince, are you excited for this?
Oh yeah, Absolutely. I mean, I love IO Interactive. I love the Hitman games. They are absolutely the best choice for this. And the smart move that I think they're doing is creating an original story for pretty much a trilogy, which we hope it is going to be a trilogy. I mean, it's hard enough to condense or not even condense, but expand a roughly 2 hour movie into 6, 8 hour gameplay, right? And even the reverse, shrinking 6 hour gameplay into like a 2.5 hour movie at least. We've seen it fail multiple times, but I honestly think IO could nail it, and I really hope they do.
So what kind of tone do we think that they're going to go for here?
So, yeah, this is what I was thinking about. Like, what aspects are they going to take of 007 and James Bond, and how are they going to implement them? Tone wise, I think it'll be that seriousness with a twist of cheese. I think James Bond needs to have a little bit of cheese. He comes out with some really terrible one-liner puns, which I'm sure Terry absolutely loves.
Where do you think I got all my puns from, guys?
Yeah,
You know, 34 years of watching
course.
007 films.
You need that. Imagine, will they, for example, will it be a linear level if it's like that, where it's like, this is what you got to do? Or will it be like Hitman, where you can approach it from a lot of different ways? And if you follow the story beats like Hitman gives you, you can have these big cinematic moments. Or could you go and kind of do it your own way? If it's like, oh, you have to go steal the data drive from so and so, do you have to try and find your way through that, talk your way through, shoot your way through? Will it have that Hitman sandbox style to it, or will it be a very linear?
I can see them going more like less sandbox than with Hitman. I know obviously you got the overarching like story, but I think that it's each level you're just kind of chucked into a maze. It's okay, go have fun. Whereas I can see the 007 game being a bit more linear in what it's doing with its like story. So I think more along the lines of like an Uncharted game, but you're still going to have that room to play in, but then it will kind of move you on to the next area, and then you know you'll be doing something there. Because I feel like there's going to be, as you mentioned, Adam, you're going to be having conversations with characters. I think there's probably going to be dialogue choices and things like that. You know, the way you want to play it, you might not just have to sneak your way into places and you know assassinate people. You might be able to talk your way out of things, and I think they're going to kind of go more into that RPG side of stuff. I hope anyway, because you know James Bond is all about that story. It's just it's the character, it's the story as well as the setting. So you can't just chuck a James Bond character into this kind of playground and like just mess around. Although that would be fun, but I think for them to make a trilogy of games, they've got to go a little bit deeper than that. And I want to see IO kind of take on this next big kind of challenge and kind of improve even more on what they've done with Hitman 3.
Do you think they'll include driving?
I was thinking that. I don't.
Big part of Bond, obviously.
It is.
Cars is driving, or would it just be him arriving in a car, and you see the Aston, or you see the Jaguar, whichever, or the Lotus, whichever area they're coming from. Like, because I presume it will be a modern James Bond.
If they did driving, it would have to be. I wouldn't want it to be like this kind of little standalone thing between the missions where you do like which would have been in the old James Bond films. I want it to feel part of that world. I want it to be like, okay, it's an open world. I'm walking out. I'm getting in my car. I'm driving to this place. Get out. What do you think, Vince?
Honestly, I could kind of see it in that in between with the style of game, kind of in between the linear and that sandbox. Because you got to think, why would they have picked IO if it wasn't for how Hitman plays for a James Bond game? Because if you want to play a James Bond game, you want to feel like James Bond. You want that espionage. You want that kind of subtle infiltration of a spy, right? So you can have something like steal the data drive, and you can also have that kind of linear, like, how do you get past the guards? Do you try to smooth talk them? Do you kill them, get them out of the way? Do you meet random characters who can get you access to where you need to be? Do you women that way to get you behind closed doors. I mean, it could be infinite possibilities of how you tackle a situation, and that's what IO does best. Give you those multiple options to get through a scenario.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do. I wonder if you'll get caught in elaborate traps to kill you, and you have to escape them. Like the laser, or the room fills up with gas or something, and you have to try and escape, or
Yeah.
the sharks. Like, I wonder if they're going to go over the top. I wonder if you're going to get villains like you would get like Jaws or Odd Job, those style, where they're really characteristic characters. Because IO do use that quite a lot in some of their games as well. You know, they've gone down that route in some of the Hitman people. Oh my god, the possibilities are endless for this game. And if this is a trilogy, sign me up. I would buy all three of them now. I am that confident that that they cannot mess this up. They just can't mess this up.
But yeah, I can see them leaning more towards the modern, the Daniel Craig type films. Go for more gritty, more realistic.
It suits IO. It suits IO to be modern.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will have the over the top characters in there, but I don't think it's going to be that 60s kind of camp James Bond that I love, you know, but I don't think I think we've already got the best 60s James Bond game ever made anyway, and that's Metal Gear Solid 3. So,
oh yeah, I love Metal Gear Solid.
Can that ever be beaten? I don't know.
It was Metal Gear Solid 3 the one that when you were in the prison cell, if you spun around really fast, you made yourself sick. Like in the menu, if you could rotate your character.
Yeah.
When he was locked in a prison cell, if you went into the menu and rotated him for a minute, he threw up and a guard came in, and it was a way of getting up.
I mean, that literally had like a James Bond opening theme.
Oh yeah,
the scene, like the ballad and everything. Then him coming into the swamp with the crocodile head on, like a nod to Goldfinger. Fantastic.
I just think here's a question. I'm going to ask you both this. Like, I'm going to hijack this one. Is how do I word this one? What do we think the aim of this game is going to be? Do you think it's to stop a nuclear bomb? Do you think it's to what over the top? Do you think it's going to be a personal one, a bit like Skyfall was, like that style, where it's a more personal story? Do you think this is going to be James Bond's going to save the world and either have to stop a rocket or find the antidote? Or
I can see them, if they've got an idea for a trilogy similar to what they did with the Daniel Craig films, make them all part of this larger plot. So you're going to go up against, in the first one, some guy wants to set off a nuke, something like that, I don't know, and then in the next one you're going to find out that he was working for this guy. Then in the first one, I don't know, they might even tap into like Blofeld and stuff. I don't know, maybe he might be involved with it in some way. They might involve Spectre. I don't know. I just, there's so many ideas they can pull from the franchise. But I'd like to see some new stuff, obviously, new villains and things like that.
IO Interactive as well are usually very good at their post-release content, like usually some of their DLC and the free DLC that they do, like the elusive targets, for example, in Hitman, which aren't canon, but they're there, like where they had Sean Bean come in and voice, and then they also had Gary Busey came in and did one as well. Like they've had these people come in and do that. It would be really good if they, with it being IO Interactive, that if some of the DLC was that you could maybe, if they did go more around the sandbox open world style, say, where you might be able to go off against some villains from, or there's some nods to past villains from the plethora of 007 movies and in games. Maybe even if it's just nods to them.
Let's not forget Sean Bean, 006. Could he make a return?
Sean Bean, 006. Maybe. He does, like, he has got links with IO Interactive.
It does.
I have killed him multiple times.
So when do we see this coming? Have they actually announced a release date, like a release year window or anything?
I'm guessing it would be 2023.
Yeah.
If they're still hiring, and they're still hiring roles including technical director, lead game designer, and executive producer, I can't imagine they're far into the process. So I'm guessing we won't see anything about this until next year, maybe, which will just be a teaser. Maybe introduce you to what Bond looks like,
Yeah.
and maybe a bit of the score, and the intro. I wonder if they're going to get a famous singer to do an intro.
You've got to do the whole shebang. You've got to have the intro.
Please get Shirley Bassey.
Oh, yes. No
Get
one does
Shirley
it like Shirley
Bassey
Bassey.
in, or who's done this year's? Oh, it's Billie Eilish that's done the new one.
Billie Eilish, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and then
is
it
we
was
still
Sam
haven't.
Smith.
We still have that
Haven't had-
film.
that film got
is it
released
ever
2
going to
years
release?
ago.
Just been waiting on it for so
It's
long.
got delayed again, hasn't it?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has.
Just delayed all the films, haven't they? Again.
Yeah, so maybe this will come out in conjunction with the film in 2023.
I think this
So,
game could possibly come out before the film. So
I know, yeah. So
way-
it's
the
a
way it's
it's a new Bond in its own world. So I'm guessing it's not canon to anything else.
no,
I
it's
don't
going to be a
think
whole
so,
new
right?
thing, whole new thing they're setting up. Which is, like I said, I hope that they're
Okay.
doing with the Indiana Jones games. I hope they're doing the same kind of thing. But who knows? They're making new films for that, so they might tie that into that.
Be
But,
interesting if these came out at
Hope
similar
not.
times.
mm,
They're two very big franchises. Like seeing which one was more, I guess, popular in the current generation, Indiana Jones or James Bond. For you two, which would you more likely to play? And
for me-
James Bond or Indiana Jones.
I mean, I love
Mm.
both those franchises, but I'm a huge Bond fan, like huge Bond fan. So yeah, definitely the 007 game for me.
Vince?
I mean, the fact that we know it's IO Interactive, it's got to be Bond. Like, I mean, who was doing Indiana
Bethesda.
Jones?
Was it Machine
Bethesda,
Games?
right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Machine
Machine
Games,
Games. That could go either way. That could be really good, or it could be a disappointment. So I mean, we know IO makes great games. It's going to be James Bond.
Mm.
Oh, that game has got like high, like on the IGN scales, you're looking at 9s for
Mhm.
easily for a 007 like IO interactive game. Like, oh god, I don't think there's a game that I'm looking forward to more
No,
like, that I haven't seen anything about than this. It's the perfect fit.
when we finally get a trailer or a teaser drop for that, it's going to be like Christmas Day, guys. Christmas Day.
Maybe it is on Christmas Day.
Hmm.
Like Merry Christmas,
No,
Terry.
that's
Yeah.
way too early.
Maybe, yeah. I don't really want to see a teaser this year.
no.
No.
I do want to hear the music though. I wonder if like, because obviously they have the rights to the music, so I wonder if they will have the traditional dun 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 dun, dun that one, or if they will bring the score in as the.
Yeah, you got to have the opening with the.
But they did that for the
Yeah.
reveal trailer, didn't they? The reveal trailer had it go across, so they have hinted at that. Like
I mean,
that
that's
was an
the first
amazing
cutscene
reveal
of the game,
trailer.
right?
That was an amazing reveal trailer.
Mhm.
What was that, Vince?
That's got to be the first cutscene of the game, right? Just that
Yeah.
slow pan, the gunshot, and then
Do you know what? Maybe not.
007.
Like
Or maybe the opening
An
is
action
you play an action sequence where you play as the guy that gets shot,
yeah, that'd be good.
and then you
Would be
see
good.
and then it cuts to the chamber. I don't know, something like
Or
that.
it'll do the blood splatter, and then the splatter will turn into dancing women, and then the music will start, like strings will
Oh,
appear,
yeah.
and then it'll be this psychedelic 12.5 minute trip, like while this song plays with grand overtures, and then you get to the start menu.
Oh, just too many good ideas for us to theorize on, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, that wraps up today's Shifty Crab News Break, I guess, guys. So when is the next one dropping, Adam?
And the next one will be on, well, we have our podcast, which will be hopefully dropping this week. So you can join us for our very first podcast where you get to see all of us on the screen at once. You lucky people.
Looking
It's a
forward
full
to that.
house. So that will be releasing on Thursday. And then the next news will be releasing on Friday. And that's it for this week.
Awesome stuff. So yeah, I have been your host today, and saying goodbye to us now is Adam.
Goodbye. Buy me a PS5, please. Somebody help.
And it's goodbye from Vince.
Bye, everybody. I gotta get back to Yarnum.
Get back to Yarnum, kill those bosses. Everyone, keep safe and keep gaming.